Namaskar, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about the concept of Karaka and Jyotish. Uh, my Guruji translates it very clearly to indicate it as the hand of God. This is a quite clear and descriptive word, the hand of God. But how is it hand of God? Uh, and what do various planets as Karakas signify? That is what we're going to cover. First of all, let's understand the literal meaning in Sanskrit of the word Karaka. And in essential, when you look at through this all these meanings, the sense you get is something related to action, of how an action happens. So one meaning given is about making something, about doing something, performing, creating, acting, etc. The Karaka can literally mean the agent, the person who is doing it. It is also about the intention of acting like that, to perform that action. It is also the instrument of action using which you are acting. And in this sense, it is how it is used in, say, Sanskrit grammar, where you have various karakas like sampradana, apadana, and all that. uh, Basically, uh, they are where you add something called a declination to a noun, and it shows what kind of action that particular noun is doing in a sentence. Okay. It is doer of an action, so it is similar to the meaning of an agent. And it's also about the capacity, okay, which is instrumental in bringing about an action, the capacity, the ability. So what we understand from all of this is about how something is working out, how an action is happening, right? uh, and who is doing the action. Okay. Now how is this related to the hand of God? Okay, the word karaka comes from kara literally means hand. Okay, and it is through hand that we perform actions. Okay. uh, and the hand is also indicating the person who is performing the action. Okay. And in this case, uh, when we come to jyotish, what it indicates is, in English it is called significator. The what do you call, let's say we talk about politics. What is the planet which is indicating politics, signifying politics? So when you see that planet, you know that this is a planet which is going to bring politics in the chart. Okay. uh, let's say someone is a cook, so we are talking of, say, cooking. What is the karaka for cooking? When you see that in the chart, you know that you're looking at um, cooking being very important. Maybe that person loves cooking, maybe it is their profession, or maybe they hate cooking, or maybe they may have a disaster due to cooking. But whatever, the the planet is indicating about cooking over there. So the action which is going to happen through this planet in that particular chart is about cooking. Okay. In some other case, let's say sports. What is a karaka for sport? Okay. That person may um, just be, it may be a hobby for him to just play. He may not be playing professionally, or he could be playing professionally, or, he may get injured while playing. Whatever it may be, whatever be the other activity, the fact that sports is being indicated, how do you know? Right? The action of sport is being indicated. That is what we mean by karaka. Okay. Then we have karaka for simple things like children or wife or spouse. Right? What is the planet signifying spouse? Okay. So in that sense, we will come into the jyotish aspect of it. It is meaning, the meaning is about signification. What is this planet indicating? What activity it is going to bring in the life of the person? It could be having children, it could be getting married, it could be having a job, it could be, it could be about the parents, right? So what is that? And in this sense, we are talking about, uh, not what you want. Okay. but rather what you get. See, in life, there are always two aspects. Okay. What is it that you want? That is what is action you want to do, right? Your mind is propelling you to do. And the other is what you're going to get. If whatever you may be wanting to do, you may end up doing something else because that's what you get. That's what society says you got to do. Okay. So the first aspect, that is what your attitude is, what you want to do, etc. That is your attitude. We call that bhava, and from that comes what we call the various houses. In astrology we have houses: the first house, second house, and all that. Tanu bhava, dhana bhava, sahaja bhava, and all that. Bhava means attitude. When I'm talking of tanu bhava, I'm talking about my health, my body, my character, my strength, and so on and so forth, my name, my reputation. When I talk of Dhana Bhava, I'm talking about my wealth, my assets, my family, food, right? So many factors are there. So, this is what is my attitude towards all these things. That is my Bhava. Okay, this is what I want. This is how I think with regards to these aspects of my life. This is one point. The second is what I get. What I get is the Karaka. Okay, what I get is the Karaka. What God wants to give me, what the society wants to give me. Okay, so, and that is signified by certain planets. Okay, so what we are going to understand is one very simple thing. I'll be presenting the planets, the grahas, and what they are signifying. There are a set of significations, and I'm presenting this from classical literature. I'll be giving the Sanskrit words also, because I believe that there's no point in just showing the English meanings, but you got to know the Sanskrit, because many times the English meaning are not able to convey it truly. So those who have some understanding of Sanskrit, they may really appreciate this. Anyhow, for those who don't know it, I've already given the English meaning as well. So one important thing is, when is something happening in life, for that you need the karaka and bhava to come together. Okay, then it really happens. So let's say if I have to become a sports person, a really successful sports person, one is I need to be happy playing sports. That is my attitude, my bhava. The other is that promise must be there in my chart, and that is the karaka. That is, God wants to give me. Okay, God says, okay, yes, in your karma there is sports. You will be a sports person. Okay. When these two come together, that's when something happens. That's why Karaka is very important. Without Karaka, you can't really predict. Okay. But before prediction, you need to know what each of the planets signify. Okay. So I'll be taking it step by step. I'll not be showing for all the planets at one go, because it will be too long a lecture. So today I'm going to only cover Sun. Okay. So what are the words? What is it showing? What is it indicating or signifying in a chart? First is Atma. Now Atma can mean soul. Okay. And Maharishi Parashara does use that in the context of soul. Okay, but it also means self, myself. Okay, I, kind of thing. And hence in that sense it's also about the ego. Okay, and when say sun is afflicted in a chart, it is typically said that the ego of the person can get hurt, they may get humiliated, they may get demeaned, etc., right? Because it is acting on them self, right? So someone is going to say some bad words or demean them or humiliate them, etc. So it is the Karaka for self. Secondly, it's Pitra. Pitra means father or forefathers as well. So our ancestors, specifically the male, the men. So our father and grandfather and all that. But grandfather is more Jupiter. But I'm talking in general the forefathers. Pitra can mean generally the forefathers, uh, and specifically the father. Okay. Then Prabhava. Prabhava means influence, uh, how much you're able to shape things. And in this sense, sun is also said to be the karaka for. See, while this is a word, there are only. See, this is not a laundry list, but from this you can extrapolate or extend it to other things. Where do you require influence? Influence is typically required in the realm of power. Okay, And where is power very important? It's in politics, it's in governance, it's in administration. And that's why Sun is the planet which is related to governance and administration. Okay. Then it's about Niruja, about health. Okay. Sun is very important. A strong sun naturally indicates a good health. Obviously, you need other factors like the particular bhava and all that. Okay. Then there is Shakti and Shriya. But before coming to that, let me make another point. Now, okay, Sun indicates Pitra, Sun indicates Prabhava, Sun indicates Niruja. Okay, it's indicating so many things. How do I know what a sun is indicating? And that's where the concept of the bhava and the karaka both coming together comes over here. You remember in the previous slide I talked about the karaka and coming to the bhava coming together, right? So that is the concept we use. So when we are talking of ninth, what is a uh, bhava related to pitra or father, right? The karaka is sun, but the bhava is the ninth house. Okay, at least in male charts for sure. What is the bhava related to power, influence, and all that? Okay, power influence essentially means what? You have followers, right? Who are following you, right? Followers are like, in a way, like your children, right? Because they believe in you. Children uh, quite implicitly behave their parents, believe in their parents or their father, especially, right? So what is the bhava related to children? The fifth house. That's why power, followers, students, all these things are related to the fifth house, right? So when you have sun and the fifth house in some ways coming together, you can see maybe it is indicating prabhava or influence in the chart. Now, Niruja, now which is the bhava related to health? It is the Tanu bhava. The word Tanu literally means the body, and Tanu means the first house. We're talking of Lagna. So Lagna indicates health. So when sun and first house are in some ways indicated together, then we know that we are talking about health. Okay. Atma also means self. So which is first house, which is Lagna. Because Lagna is indicating myself. Okay. Then we have Shakti. Shakti means force, power, vigor. Okay. It's a very big term, but in a way, this Shakti is pretty much similar to, in the sense of connotation to Prabhav or influence, because um, for having influence, you need to have some degree of power or force, right? Uh, in some way or the other, right? It may be spiritual power, it may be political power, it may be material or wealth related power, it may be simple physical power, sheer physical power, whatever. For influencing something, you need some kind of power. So Shakti and Prabhava that way are interrelated. They may not be the same thing, but they are interrelated. So I would relate this with the fifth house. Then we have Shriya. Shriya is again a very wide word. When you go into dictionaries, you find, okay, Shriya or Shri, it's related to prosperity, glory, fortune, I would say even abundance, and in some sense, contentment. It's having enough, it's not just about sheer wealth, okay? It's about, you may have wealth, but you may not have Shri. Shri is the ability to enjoy wealth with others. Okay. Um, so that is what we're talking about over here. And sun indicates wealth. So in a way, it is also about your status, because if you're having wealth, if you're having a lot of people to enjoy wealth with and all that, and you're quite fortunate, you have very good relations, okay, and that itself indicates glory about, your people will sing praises, oh, he's a great guy and all that. Which house are we talking about over here? The house which is the highest in the sky, right? That's because we are talking of someone in, glorious, fortunate, prosperous, right? So high up in the sky, and the house which is high up in the sky is the tenth house, which is called the mid heaven, right? So the tenth house. So the tenth house shows the status and all that. So when we talk of Shriya, I would relate it with the tenth house. And if a person's tenth house is afflicted, that can impact their wealth prospects much more. I mean, or equal to say You say second house were afflicted, which is the proper dhana bhava. Okay. So today I hand over here, and next time we will cover maybe few other grahas. I hope you found this interesting. If you liked it, do share your views and your comments. Thank you so much. Namaste.